A cold afternoon drizzle was falling, wetting the narrow alleyways of Vancouver's downtown east side. The smell of wet garbage mingled with the briny aroma of the nearby docks. Between piles of cardboard and empty bottles, a young woman with a pale face and worn-out clothes was patiently sorting recyclables. Her name was Maya, around 26 years old. People in the area knew her as a new bottle picker. Her frame was small, but her movements were quick. Every morning, she'd appear with a large cart, navigating the damp streets. She rarely spoke, let alone made eye contact. To the local vendors and residents, Maya was just one of many people trying to get by, sorting through the city's cast-offs. But no one knew that behind the grime-streaked face, Maya was far from ordinary. She was actually a young undercover officer from the RCMP's anti-corruption unit, deep in an operation to expose a protection racket in the market. A racket long suspected of being protected by dirty cops. This kind of deep cover op wasn't new to Maya. Before joining the unit, she'd spent time as a detective. She was known as a smart, brave officer, capable of adapting to any situation. But this mission was riskier. She was operating completely off the books, no official ID, no backup, no extraction team ready to pull her out. Her primary goal was simple but dangerous: find the fixer running the shakedown in the DTES market, especially the officers in uniform protecting the operation. The latest reports indicated small-time vendors were being forced to pay a safety fee every week by a group of men claiming to work for the police. Maya had been undercover for 2 weeks. She was living in a small single-room occupancy, SRO, hotel room just off Hastings, a place where sunlight barely entered. She'd adopted the persona of a bottle picker to blend in without suspicion. From there she observed the pattern of the players. Who came, who collected the money, and who stopped by the security kiosk at night. But one thing she couldn't yet confirm: which specific officer was the bagman. That first encounter happened late that afternoon. Maya was sorting a load of bottles outside a small diner when a patrol car pulled up abruptly. 2 cops got out. One was burly, with a thick mustache, wearing sunglasses despite the fading light. His name tag read CST. Harding. "Hey, what are you doing here?" Harding asked, his tone harsh, looking Maya up and down. Maya kept her head down. "Just collecting bottles, officer." Harding snorted, then kicked the bag of cans beside her. "This is my beat. You want to work this street? You need permission. Understand?" Maya feigned confusion. "Permission, sir. I'm just picking." "Don't play dumb," Harding cut in, his voice rising. "Listen, everyone who makes a buck around here has to kick in. $50 a week. Minimum. Or I'll run you in for vagrancy." Maya stayed silent. She knew if she pushed back too soon, her cover would be blown. She just nodded slowly. "Okay, officer. I'll try." The cop smiled cynically. "Smart. Tomorrow, drop it at Sal's diner. Tell them it's for Harding." "Got it." Maya nodded again, affecting fear. Inside, she had just found the first major piece of the puzzle. Harding. Later that night, after the streets emptied and the drizzle stopped, Maya wrote in a small notebook. Her hand trembled slightly from the cold. CST. Harding is running the extortion on the west side of the market. Likely working with local muscle and illegal vendors. Drop point, Sal's Diner. 10 a.m. She stared at the note for a long time. Every undercover mission tested her, not just her nerve but her patience. There was no uniform, no collegial respect, no protection. Just the silence and the smell of wet garbage that clung to her every day. But behind it all, Maya had a personal reason for being so relentless in this case. Her father had been a small shop owner who went bankrupt because of exactly this kind of shakedown. From that moment, Maya had vowed to bring justice for those who were powerless. The following days passed slowly. Maya continued to monitor Harding and his crew. She discovered the protection money wasn't just collected from vendors, but also from delivery drivers, parking attendants, and even the buskers who played near the Skitran station. Every afternoon, Harding would arrive in his patrol car, pretending to be on a routine sweep. But Maya knew that car often left with a black duffel bag full of cash. Sometimes they'd hang out at the security kiosk by the small overpass, drinking coffee and laughing loudly, as if nothing was wrong. But eventually, one of Harding's men started to get suspicious of Maya. His name was Andre, a former street tough who was now a paid informant. He noticed that Maya never actually seemed to sell her recyclables. Sometimes she just circled specific areas, seeming to write something down on small scraps of paper. One night, while Maya was sorting plastics near an empty warehouse, Andre followed her from a distance. He saw the woman copying something into a small notebook. As Maya turned, Andre ducked behind a pillar. He sneered quietly. "What kind of bottle picker writes notes every night?" The next day, Andre reported his suspicions to Harding. The market was bustling. Vendors shouted their deals. The smell of frying food mixed with the damp air. Maya was sitting on the edge of a curb, pretending to sort cardboard. Suddenly, a large shadow fell over her. When she looked up, Harding was standing over her with two of his men. "You! Come here," Harding commanded. Maya acted startled. "What is it, officer?" Harding stared intently. "You're not just a picker, are you? I got a report you're watching people, writing things down." Maya tried to stay calm. I just write down the good spots, sir. So I don't forget." "You're lying." Harding kicked a bucket near Maya's feet, sending dirty water splashing. People in the market started to look. A few vendors pretended to be busy, but they were clearly watching. "I'm warning you," Harding said, leaning down to get in Maya's face. "Stay out of this market's business. If I see you doing anything strange again, you'll regret it." Maya swallowed hard. In public, she could only bow her head. But inside, her anger was boiling. She knew that threat wasn't an empty one. After that, Maya returned to her SRO room, her hands shaking. She looked at her reflection in the small, cracked mirror. Dirty face, matted hair, but her eyes were still sharp. In her mind, memories of her childhood surfaced. She remembered her father, who ran a small fruit stand in their neighborhood. Every week, men, some in uniform, would come to demand protection money. When her father refused, his stand was vandalized that night. From that point, their family's life changed. Her father died under the stress, her mother got sick, and Maya swore one day she would dismantle that rotten system from the inside. This assignment wasn't just a job. It was vengeance wrapped in justice. A few days later, Maya decided to take a bigger risk. She tailed Harding to a small restaurant on the edge of town. There she saw Harding hand a large envelope to a man in plain clothes. The man looked influential, wearing a tailored suit and a large ring. From the snippets of conversation she overheard, Maya caught the name Inspector Reynolds. That was a name that made her heart pound. Reynolds wasn't small time. He was a senior officer in the Vancouver Police Department. It meant the chain of corruption went all the way up to management. Maya discreetly took photos with a small, hidden phone in her bag. But before she could leave, someone tapped her shoulder. She turned. Andre was standing there, his face suspicious. "What are you doing here, Maya?" His voice was cold. Maya forced a smile. "Looking for empties, Andre." Andre stepped closer. "There's no garbage here. Only suits eating steak. Kinda weird, isn't it? A bottle picker hanging out at a place like this." Maya didn't answer. In that tense second, Andre suddenly tried to grab her bag. By reflex, Maya held on with all her strength. The bag ripped slightly, and her phone nearly fell out. Luckily, a car honking loudly behind them made Andre look away for a split second. Maya used that moment to bolt into a narrow alley, disappearing into the evening crowd. That night, she knew one thing for sure: her cover was dangerously close to being blown. Back in her SRO, Maya stared at her phone. The photos she took were clear, showing the meeting between Harding and Inspector Reynolds. It was strong evidence, but not enough to bring them down. She needed audio, a direct transaction, a witness. But time was running out. If Andre reported everything, Harding would move on her by morning. Maya had to make a choice: continue the mission and risk being captured, or end the operation before it was too late. She chose to stay. "If I stop now, all this sacrifice was for nothing," she mumbled. "I'm not the weak bottle picker they think I am." With a heavy breath, Maya planned her next move. She would approach Sal, the owner of the diner where the money was collected. The woman seemed kind, but Maya suspected Sal was sitting on more secrets than she let on. Outside, the rain started again, drumming rhythmically on the thin roof of the SRO. Amid the sound of the rain, Maya stared out the blurry window and said to herself, "If they think I'm just a scavenger, they're going to be shocked when they find out who I really am." And that night, Maya's undercover mission entered its darkest phase. Morning in the DTES market always started early. The sound of vendors competing with the rumble of trucks. The air was still damp from last night's rain. Amid the crowd, Maya walked slowly, her cart in tow. Her movements seemed casual, but her eyes were sharp. Her objective was clear: Sal's Diner, the place Harding had named as the collection point. The diner was simple, a small counter with a vinyl roof. A large pot of chili steamed fragrantly. But to a keen eye, something was off. Every morning, several men in worn-out clothes would come by, handing small envelopes to Sal. Not to buy food, but they went straight into a metal lockbox under the counter. Maya pretended to stop for a coffee. She sat on a stool near the door, a safe distance from the cash register. From there she could watch Sal. A woman in her late 40s, heavy-set, with a wide smile, but sharp eyes that seemed used to sizing people up. "You're new, honey?" Sal asked, pouring coffee into a mug. "Yeah. Just picking," Maya replied in a quiet voice. "It's hard work out here. But be careful, lots of shady types." Maya glanced at her. "Shady how?" "Ah, you'll find out," Sal said quickly, smiling. "Drink your coffee." Maya sipped slowly. She knew that tone. It wasn't small talk, it was a veiled warning. Before she could ask more, two men came in with envelopes and handed them straight to Sal. The woman weighed them quickly, then put them in the lockbox without counting. Maya pretended to stare out the window, but her ears clearly caught their short exchange. From the fish stall, Sal. "Okay. Tell Harding I'll see him at the overpass this afternoon." That word, overpass, stuck in Maya's head. A new meeting point, likely for the money transfer. That afternoon, Maya sat behind a pile of refuse bags near the overpass. From there, she could see the access road used by sanitation trucks. Around 5 p.m., a patrol car stopped. CST. Harding got out, carrying a small bag. A moment later, Sal arrived from the market, carrying a grocery bag. They exchanged items quickly, then spoke for a moment. Maya took photos discreetly, using a mini camera hidden in an old coffee tin. As she was about to hide the camera, her eyes caught something. Someone in the distance was watching her. It was Andre. Maya held her breath. She knew she couldn't run, it would confirm his suspicions. So she kept pretending to sort trash, counting every second. Andrei walked over, his steps heavy and sure. From his face, Maya knew he was certain of his suspicion. When he was only a few feet away, Andrei spoke, his voice low but sharp. Still pretending to look for bottles, Maya. She didn't look at him. Yeah, Andrei. It's my job. Andrei crouched beside her, staring directly into her face. Funny. What kind of bottle picker hides a mini camera in a coffee tin? Maya's heart stopped. She instinctively grabbed the tin, trying to hide it, but Andrei's hand was faster. He snatched the tin, popped the lid, and found the camera inside. I knew there was something wrong with you. Andrei shouted, standing up. His loud voice made Harding and Sal look over from the overpass. In a split second, Maya knew her cover was officially blown. Harding yelled furiously. Get her. Don't let her get away. Maya bolted towards the market, pushing through the evening crowd. Vendors and shoppers screamed as they saw two men and a uniformed officer chasing a bottle picker who was running for her life, still clutching her bag. The sidewalks were slick, and she almost slipped several times, but adrenaline kept her going. Harding pulled his service weapon but couldn't get a clear shot in the crowded area. He just screamed, "Stop! Police!" The narrative shifts, depicting the confrontation's resolution and aftermath. Dawn broke, staining the Vancouver sky a soft orange. The DTES market was coming alive, but with one major change: no arrogant cop was circulating, demanding fees. The faces of the vendors seemed calmer. There was no more anxiety every time heavy boots echoed on the pavement. At the VPD headquarters, the atmosphere was tense. Harding and Andrei, along with Inspector Reynolds, sat in an interrogation room, pale-faced. They knew their careers were over. Standing before them was Maya, this time in her official RCMP uniform, complete with her badge and credentials. The door opened. Superintendent Arif, Maya's direct superior, walked in. I told you your job is to protect people, not prey on them, he said, his voice calm but sharp. And you just assaulted an officer who was trying to clean up this institution's name. The three men just looked down. There were no more excuses. Maya looked at them, not with hatred but with disappointment. I went to the street not to trap you, but to find out how broken the public's trust in us really is. It's worse than I thought. A few days later, footage from the incident, captured by Maya's hidden camera during the chase, was released as part of the official report. The 3-minute clip showed how Maya, disguised as a vulnerable bottle picker, was harassed by Harding, and then the chase through the market. The video went viral overnight. Thousands of comments poured in. Respect to Officer Maya. Finally, a cop actually on the side of the people. I hope other officers learn from this. Don't abuse your power. They thought she was just a picker, turns out she was undercover justice. The DTES market received new attention from the city. Bylaws were reviewed, public facilities were upgraded, and the extortion racket was dismantled. The vendors often saw Maya visiting, this time without the disguise, just offering a warm smile. Hey Maya, coffee's on the house for the market's hero, shouted Sal, the diner owner, who had become a key witness. Maya laughed. Careful, Sal, or I'll become a permanent fixture. But behind it all, Maya knew her job wasn't done. The market case was just one small piece of a much larger network of corruption. But at least her small fight had sparked new hope. That honesty and courage, even when misunderstood, could still change things. One night, Maya stood on the overpass near the market, looking at the city lights reflecting on the water. The night air was cool. Superintendent Arif joined her. You did a big thing here, Maya. But I know you're still carrying the weight. Maya looked toward the market. I just want people to trust this uniform again, sir. If they can smile without being afraid, that's enough. Arif nodded. That's why you're right where you belong. Months later, the local precinct was declared clean. Internal reforms began. In front of the station, a new banner hung, "To protect and serve, not exploit." Maya, now promoted to corporal, walked past it. She saw the faces of the community members who used to look down in fear, who now greeted her with a nod. The RCMP crest was still on her shoulder. But now, she didn't need a disguise to prove who she was. She was known not as a weak bottle picker, but as a symbol that the truth sometimes comes from the most unexpected places. And from the bustling market, Sal's voice echoed again, "Maya, that coffee is still free, you know." Maya laughed. "In that case, I'm officially a regular, Sal." She sat on a simple stool, enjoying a hot coffee, watching the market, now alive with peace. The undercover